Merci d'être là. Amina Msnawi de la librairie Porte-Enfants Casablanca, partenaire du Book Club Le Matin. Alors le Book Club Le Matin, pour ceux qui ne le connaissent pas, a été créé il y a à peu près 3 ans. Il fait des réunions qui étaient au début mensuelles, qui sont maintenant plutôt hebdomadaires et même un peu plus des fois. Nous avons établi ce partenariat avec le Sofitel depuis 3 ans maintenant pour les escales littéraires du Sofitel qui sont organisées en marge du Salon du Livre, puisque le Salon du Livre s'est déplacé à Rabat depuis 3 ans. Nous sommes ravis de vous recevoir, nous sommes ravis de vous présenter cette magnifique initiative qui est la création de la BD sur les lions de l'Atlas, conçue et imaginée par Ayoub Qanir. Alors Ayoub Qanir est un jeune réalisateur à peu près 40 ans, marocain, vivant à Barcelone, qui a fait ses études aux États-Unis, qui a fait ses premières armes dans le cinéma, qui est un passionné de son pays, amoureux du pays Maroc, et qui a toujours voulu transmettre quelque chose pour le pays. Donc, il a d'abord conçu la BD Marche verte en 2016 à l'occasion du 40e où Sa Majesté s'est rendue à Laayoune. Il voulait absolument que tous les enfants marocains connaissent l'histoire de la Marche verte parce que ceux qui sont nés ces dernières années ne la connaissent pas. Et peut-être qu'on leur raconte ça à l'école, peut-être pas. Pour lui, c'est un événement qui a marqué son enfance, donc il voulait que tous les petits connaissent. Donc la Marche verte, on la distribue gracieusement depuis 2016. Elle est offerte par Ayoub Qanir et la librairie Porte-Enfants. Cette année, il a, avec la sympathie du ministre de la Culture qui aime les super-héros, ils ont eu l'idée de ramener les dessinateurs Marvel déjà en novembre 2023 à Casablanca pour le Salon du Livre Jeunesse. Ça a été un immense succès, ça a eu un succès fou. Nous avions 7 dessinateurs pendant 3 jours et demi, c'était fabuleux, il fallait voir l'émerveillement de tous les visiteurs, grands et petits. Parce que même les grands sont des amoureux de la BD. Cette fois-ci, c'est pour 10 jours, donc profitez-en. Vous avez encore une semaine pour inviter vos enfants, vos familles, vos proches à venir visiter le Salon du Livre. C'est juste à l'entrée. La fan zone est magnifique, elle est très bien conçue, elle est très bien montée, avec des statues, avec plein de choses qui rappellent l'univers Marvel et l'univers DC. Donc cette fois, ce n'est pas uniquement Marvel, on va dire c'est les dessinateurs des super-héros. Alors ce soir, ça va être présenté par Amin Lamri, journaliste sport, qui est fan de l'équipe nationale évidemment, et qui a dit oui tout de suite quand on lui a proposé de parler des Lions de l'Atlas. Je vous souhaite une bonne soirée.
Merci. Merci Amina. Bonsoir tout le monde. Ravi et c'est avec un très grand plaisir que je reçois aujourd'hui à l'occasion des escales littéraires du Book Club ici au Sofitel, des grands noms, de très grands noms. Pour moi personnellement qui suis fan Madame Amina de foot, mais aussi de comics et de bande dessinée, recevoir ces 3 personnes est quelque chose d'historique et très honorant pour moi. Je me permets juste de vous demander pardon parce que ce ne sera pas en français, ce sera en anglais pour pouvoir avoir une meilleure communication. Et je vous invite par la suite à consulter la page du matin où toute la rencontre sera diffusée. Je commence déjà par les présentations. So, here we're at Rabat, just beside the book fair. We're here with Darren Sanchez, Bernard Chang, and Chen, which are superstars in the comic book world. And I'd like to have a couple words from all of you guys, starting with you, Darren, about your experience here in Rabat and in Morocco in general. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. This is actually my second time in Morocco. We came in November to the book fair, the children's book fair in Casablanca, and we also got to visit Marrakesh, so we got to see a little bit of Morocco, and I developed a love for Morocco. I really like it here. I like the food, I like the weather, the people are friendly and smart. We really enjoy it here. When we had another opportunity to put a team together and come back, I was very excited to do that and to bring some of my best friends in the world, Sean and Bernard, with me. So I love it here.
Bernard, stay in Morocco. How do you like it?
Oh,
I heard food was your
Marhaba.
excellent.
I've been practicing my French Bonjour, je m'appelle Bernard Chang. Où sont les toilettes? No, really, I really have to go. So it's no, Morocco is great. This is my first time here. As comic book artists, we get to travel the world quite often for many different comic book conventions. And it's always great to see nowadays how the heroes that we grew up reading, that we are also now drawing, are known around the world. And the passion and the enthusiasm for these characters and stories are now also shared with the youth, even here in Morocco.
Sean, how's your stay here in Rabat? I believe it's your second time in
Yes,
Morocco?
yes, I was in Casablanca a while back, and now we're here in Rabat. So one thing that I noticed is like what we know of Morocco is mostly from in America, like the TV shows, like in a James Bond movie, and it's just usually an exotic location just to film some action against. But when we came here, we know it's much more than that. There's people, there's culture, and there's history that we don't get to see. So it was great getting to know all of that and getting to know the people. And we just find that a lot of the people who are young readers are very enthusiastic and very nice, and we've come to really love this place.
I'm going to go back to you, Darren, and speak about the comic book in general. It's still a book, but it's sometimes it's perceived as book for children, but I know many people that are that go through comic books even in their 40s and their 50s. In your experience, many decades in this industry, what's the one thing that's still the same thing in the comic books since you started?
I think comic books appeal to people because they're a great medium to tell stories, just like movies or something like that. But comics also have a sense of wonder and escapism, and you can really relate to them even as you grow older because there's all kinds of comic book stories. There's comic book stories for everyone, different age groups, different genres, and the ones that we do now are also for anyone from, I guess, 12 to 80, or as they say, kids of all ages. This particular comic I was excited to do because I'm a huge fan of football, soccer, football, and the World Cup. We watched it in the States, even though the U.S. team didn't do very well. They did okay. They got out of the first group, but they didn't make it as far as the Morocco team. And Morocco played great. They were a fun team to watch, and I learned about some of the players even before we had this project. So when Ayoub asked me, can you make a comic for the book fair coming up? I told him we only had 2 or 3 months, 2.5 months to do it. And I told him, if you can get the script to me in a week, we can do it. But because it takes a while to make a comic, he did it. He got the script to me in a week, and then I brought in Sean to draw the interior. Sean turned it out a page a day like he always does. And then Bernard took on the cover and did a great job with the cover. So we put this book together in record time, and a lot of it had to do with the passion that we had for the subject matter. And we definitely wanted to be able to come here and talk about this comic, so we got it done.
On a le plaisir d'accueillir Ayoub Qanir qui souffre un peu du poignet, donc on va lui souhaiter Ayoub, dans la même lignée, ta relation par rapport à ce livre, qui en fait qui reste un livre. Qui reste un livre, et on parlait avec Sean, Bernard et Darren de leur expérience ici à Rabat. La même question pour toi, Ayoub, comment ça se passe ici au ciel cette année?
Tout d'abord, je m'excuse infiniment pour ce retard. Ouais, merci, c'est très gentil, c'est très gentil. C'est très gentil. Alors, tout d'abord, je m'excuse pour le retard. I'm going to speak in French so they can understand. J'ai dû faire une petite visite pour un petit groupe d'orphelins. Alors, j'ai pas pu dire non pour notre espace. Et j'ai couru tout ce que j'ai pu pour lancer le Tout d'abord, je vous remercie d'être ici. Je remercie le ministère de nous avoir permis, le ministère de la Culture, de la Jeunesse et de la Communication, de nous avoir permis d'aboutir ce projet, parce que sans eux, ça n'aurait pas été possible. Et puis je remercie nos amis, les Marvéliens, qui ont accepté ce défi parce qu'on avait un délai de 2 mois. On a démarré le 15 février et on a fini le 15 avril pour pouvoir l'offrir pour pouvoir l'offrir aux enfants gratuitement à la porte de notre espace. Et aujourd'hui, quand on voit les enfants avec le grand sourire, ça nous fait infiniment plaisir, parce qu'on a bossé comme des malades. Et à la fin de voir les enfants sourire et être contents, ça a valu la peine. Alors, l'objectif. Je suis désolé, j'ai pas pu répondre à ta question. Alors, moi, je pensais que c'était une note assez importante à partager. Et le projet, ben, il n'y a pas de mots, no comment, parce que c'est historique. Ce qui s'est passé au Qatar, c'est inoubliable. Et je pense qu'il valait la peine. Il y avait quelque chose qui manquait. Et je pense que c'est là où est née cette idée de produire un petit bijou qu'on pourrait partager dans 10 ans, dans 20 ans, vu qu'on a l'expérience avec la Marche verte, une autre BD qu'on a produite. Aujourd'hui, l'idée Les Lions de l'Atlas est venue quand on a gagné contre le Portugal. Et c'est de ce moment-là, etc., avec tous les défis. Et c'est que le 15 février 2024 qu'on a pu avoir le feu vert pour inviter nos amis à produire ce joli bijou, comme on a dit, avec de grands artistes avec nous. Grands artistes, on les remercie infiniment. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. I know the deadline was crazy, but I think it was fun. And that's what I loved, that you guys were having some fun doing it. It wasn't just a job. It was like, you love sports, and I saw that you were really enjoying the process. And I think it's a beautiful piece of love that today we're able to share with the kids, and most importantly, giving it away for free. I think it says a lot. So thank you.
Merci Ayoub, shukran.
Avec plaisir.
I'm gonna ask Sean, since he's known among fans as being Mr. Iron Man. How important is it to go back to basics, basically, and speak about stories that touches everybody, like the World Cup? How is it important for you being successful, being a great comic designer as you are?
Well, the story came from Ayoub and his writing partner. Originally when they brought the idea up, I was a little bit concerned because usually these types of comics are like a highlight reel of the game. I think you can best experience that on YouTube or ESPN sports channels. But what was given to me was actually much more than that. It was the story of the entire country and how they got together. And this win, I think you call it the 12th player.
Yeah.
So there's 11 players on the team, and then the 12th player is really all the people of Morocco, from the government, the president. There's corporations and people, and even the players' mothers played a very important part of that story. So this is a story to me is like, wow, this is really a story. Yeah. And I, having been to Morocco and seeing the people, I really wanted to bring this story to life and bring all of what I've learned in comics and put it together in my latest and greatest work. And it was an honor to do it.
Thank you, Sean.
I think I would like to add one more detail. Ce qui est important et intéressant, c'est que Chen était invité au Silège, le salon de la jeunesse et de l'enfant à Casablanca. C'était notre premier espace Marvel. Ce qui est intéressant, c'est qu'ils ont pu voir, surtout Sean et Darren, ils ont pu voir le Maroc, le vivre, le découvrir. Ils ont voyagé à Marrakech, ils ont fait des tournées à Casablanca. Et puis, ils sont rentrés chez eux à New York, et c'est là où on leur a demandé de faire le livre. C'est-à-dire qu'ils avaient déjà une petite touche, un petit contact avec notre culture. Et je pense que c'était même pas planifié, mais à la fin, c'est un très joli cercle qui s'est refermé avec cet aboutissement. I'm just saying that you came before, and when you came back, when you went back to New York, and we wanted you to work with us on this, you had been to Morocco. Would it have been interesting or different if this project came to you and you had never visited Morocco before?
Right, that's how we do comics in America. They don't have the budget to actually have you visit the place, so you do a lot of Google image searches, and then and so this is an ideal. I didn't really know that visiting here was going to lead to doing this comic, but it's a vital part of the process and an ideal way to do a project like this.
Fantastic.
So Bernard, you were in charge of the cover, which is fantastic. Les gens pourront voir la couverture. Bernard était en charge de la couverture. Talk us through the sheer idea of trying to capture everything and this huge adventure, historical moments for Moroccans in this cover. I'm gonna be honest with you, I saw it and I had goosebumps because it captures everything that was there in Qatar. So talk to us through this process.
Well, thank you very much. In superhero comics, it's all about dynamic storytelling. And it's about the superheroes charging at the reader. And what I gravitated towards in terms of the story of the Moroccan national football team and athletics in general is the moment when they race onto the field. You know, if you've ever been in that moment or in that spot where you run onto the grass and you run on into the field and the stadium and the fans are all around you, the pitch, yes. That moment really begins to, raise the hair on your arms and the goosebumps, and also invigorates the athlete and the player to want to perform at their best. And so that's what I tried to capture in the image for the cover.
Ayoub, je sais qu'on partage cette passion pour ce moment historique. Ça fait maintenant 17 mois exactement depuis cette fameuse rencontre de quart de finale contre le Portugal.
Yep.
C'est ce jour-là que l'idée a vraiment...
Absolument. Moi, j'ai senti... so, just so they understand, he said, when was this idea born? Was it when they won against Portugal? C'était vraiment ce moment-là que je me suis dit, on avait besoin d'arrêter le temps. On avait besoin de créer une capsule qu'on pourrait revisiter plus tard et que ça soit immortel. Et à mon avis, les bandes dessinées, sur un budget extrêmement modeste, on est capable d'avoir une bande dessinée chez soi. Alors sur ce projet, on a une version cartonnée, rigide, qui va sortir bientôt. Et l'avoir chez soi, c'est même mieux qu'un film, ça coûte beaucoup moins qu'un film. Et on peut la voir chaque jour sur notre table. Une version rigide à côté d'autres livres sur notre table, chez nous, chez soi, ou sur son bureau, ou sur une salle d'attente, ou je sais pas.
C'est le souvenir qu'on peut toucher.
Exactement. Et surtout que j'espère qu'on a capturé l'énergie et les sentiments. Hier, and I think you need to share this. Chang you received a beautiful message on Instagram this morning from a fan who told you what they thought about the book. Remember that you shared it on our group?
Right. So the very first time I saw this book printed was right at the show when everyone else saw it. So I have no idea what the feedback would be. My concern was that I captured everything, that it gets across in the best way possible. And that was my intention. You never can really tell whether it goes over well or not, but so far, for the people who have read it, and we've heard very little feedback yet because it's still very early. But it was a very touching Instagram message that someone sent to me, a female reader who said she read it with her sister and really loved it, and it hit her emotionally. And that was very touching because then we know for the first time, that was the first time that we knew that it worked. So it was a great relief and it was a great honor that it went over so well.
Can I translate what he said? Yeah, just going to translate. Alors, Chen, hier soir, une petite anecdote, a reçu un message privé, je veux dire, un message sur son Instagram d'une fan qui est venue nous visiter à l'espace Marvel et qui lui a écrit tout un paragraphe comment elle a été touchée par la bande dessinée et le fait qu'on ait les mamans des joueurs avec leur veil, leur voile, pardon, et en train d'encourager leurs enfants. Et elle a écrit un très très joli message que je vais bien sûr pas pouvoir vous le partager en ce moment, mais on a été tous extrêmement touchés. On l'a même partagé avec les gens du ministère qui nous ont soutenus et tout le monde a ressenti la même chose. La réponse, c'est que c'est pour ça qu'on est en train de faire ce qu'on fait. C'est pour toucher les gens, c'est pour créer des émotions positives et faire sentir aux jeunes Marocains que c'est possible de créer du bon produit, c'est possible d'exporter nos histoires à l'étranger. Et quoi de beau, plus beau que l'histoire des lions de l'Atlas, espérant que cette jolie BD pourrait s'exporter ou pourra s'exporter à d'autres pays, Inch'Allah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Sean, you said all that. Wow.
I close with a nice, hopeful message.
The fans that we've been meeting at the show have been telling us how beautiful the comic is. The cover is beautiful, the interior is beautiful. So I've been asking them, please come back and tell us what you think of the story after you've had a chance to read it. And we've been getting some very good feedback on the story, on how touching it is, and how it makes them think of how they actually felt at that moment.
Yep.
And they really love that we brought the moms into the story, probably stuff that you already just said, but the fans are coming back and giving us great feedback on not just the art, but the story and the emotional part as well. So that's very rewarding.
Yeah. And that's key too, because Sean's really a mama's boy at heart. So he really drew from personal experience.
Where's your mama? Is she in New York?
Oh yeah, she's in California, living near my sister. But
Okay.
yeah, when I read that, when you mentioned mothers as part of the important part of the book,
Yep.
it actually it opened with a Pride of Lions and what the role
Yep.
that the females play in that Pride of Lions. I was like, this is a story for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. We're all.
You read it?
Yeah.
You read
We're
it?
all very, very in a tight relationship with our mothers.
Yes. And it's real.
So
It's not just in the story. It's really real, like in the culture.
So in the stadium is the reality.
Yeah, it's how
of
people really do
every
act in
Moroccan.
culture. And in fact, in religion, in Islam, and we actually took a quote, poetic quote, but it's actually from the Quran that says, under the mother's feet is where paradise is. Like if you want to go to paradise,
You have to take care of mama.
obey your mother and take care of mother. And in fact, it's in there.
Yeah.
There's one page where we see Hakimi, the number 2, kiss his mother, and across from that we put the little quote.
Yeah.
So we really try to take it home, and I'm glad it was able to touch you.
I'm going to go back to Darren, and like I said before, 17 months ago, almost to the day, we lived something historical, not only in football, soccer, but in our history as Moroccan, as a country, as a nation. As an editor, when you get a story like this, where basically those players change into superheroes.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
When you get a script for something like that real and that has so many emotions, is it easier or is it harder to put it in a comic book than an imaginary?
That's a really good question. The truth is that it's harder because there is so much that you want to say. It's not a fictional story where the only story that you're telling is the one that you've made up. There's like a whole, it's like an iceberg thing. You know, you have 70% of the iceberg is underwater and you don't even see it. We have to decide what we're going to be able to portray in the story because in a comic book you have limited space. It's like if you have a movie and you only have a half hour to show, but you have 2 hours worth of things to say. So I had to
edit Ayoub because he had so much enthusiasm that he had so many things happening on every page. I told him that you're going to kill Sean, you know, so, and there's no room for all those letters. So we had to hone the story down, and we worked together, and it was a great script. It was just, it made it hard to hone it down into the story that it was, the 20-page story.
Yeah, my next question is to Sean. How hard was it to design, draw, imagine the story being real, but you then have to put it on a comic book? How hard was it?
Well, you know, I think what Ayoub was trying to write in the story was a very high bar to try to achieve with the artwork, and the challenge for me was to try to live up to that. And you know, like Darren said, there's very limited amount of space in a comic. I think this story would actually be better if it were 40 pages, but we tried to do our best and just give the best in 20 pages. But yeah, you know, luckily, since the part that makes it a little bit easier is that this is a real event that happened. It was captured on camera, and that gave me a basis for the artwork. And most of those events that happen that I'm capturing usually are filmed from far away, because that's how sports is filmed. And then that creates a distance between the viewer and the event that's happening. So my job was to actually bring the viewer close up into the field, and then just have the action be more in your face to make the viewer feel like they're part of the story. But luckily, all of this stuff really happened in real life, and I can see what everything looks like, and I can see their faces, and so that was a big help, and so challenging, but also easier in some ways too.
Yeah, one last one for Bernard. Everybody loves an underdog story. So what happened with Morocco is we were the underdog in this World Cup. So do you think it captures really the essence and the spirit of a comic book with this one of the national team of Morocco?
Yeah, comic books, superhero comics, even though what we normally do, you know, is like really robots and aliens and people flying around, we try to capture the human essence, the struggle of growing and expanding and looking forward and having passion and vision. And, you know, so when you look through the book, Sean is very humble. There's a lot of pieces in there where when you open up to a certain page and there's a huge image, and it's very exciting to look at, where the particular player is kicking the ball, or even the huge crowd scene, where the Moroccan fans are there in the stadium cheering on the team.
Incredible detail and a lot of nuance in all of the art. So,
and so in comic books, it's like I think it's like a house. You know, you have a limited amount of square footage, or kilometers, or kilometers. I don't know, how do you...
Meters.
Anyways, meters. And you have a lot of furniture. And how do you arrange the furniture in the home or in the room to, you know, maybe sometimes you would need to take some out, maybe you need to cluster certain things together, and then when you come in, you can have a focus on a painting or a particular family piece, mantle. And so that really requires a mastery of the craft. And so I think, you know, Sean really was able to carry that home, and hopefully also inspire the next generation of the kids who are reading this book to then go on and maybe not, well, they might not play football, but they could apply the same level of enthusiasm and hard work into something else. Yes.
Ayoub, le mot de la fin, je le laisse pour toi, pour ce projet grandiose et pour le futur, Inch'Allah.
Continue to dream. Gardez le rêve. Gardez le rêve, gardez l'espoir. Je sais que c'est difficile, c'est très compliqué, c'est presque impossible, mais on garde l'espoir, on continue à essayer. Ce projet, c'est exactement ça. Ça fait 17 mois qu'on essaie de l'aboutir, et même juste récemment, on a eu beaucoup de complications. On ne va pas citer lesquelles, mais ça a été vraiment presque annulé à chaque reprise, et à chaque fois, On s'est mis debout, on a regroupé, je veux dire, et on a avancé, c'est-à-dire que ça ne va jamais être facile, ça ne va jamais être a walk in the park, like we say. Mais il faut continuer, il faut rêver grand, il faut beaucoup de dedication. En français?
C'est l'implication.
La dédication, il faut beaucoup de dédication, mais j'encourage beaucoup de Marocains à we need more dedication. C'est-à-dire que là ça fait مزيان. Là ça fait assez.
Ayoub,
Dir Niya. غنسالي Dir Niya. Niya, c'est exactement ce que ça veut dire. Dir Niya هي دير النفس، يخدم بالقلب وبالعقل وبالصدر وبالروح وكمل ودير داك الشيء وما تقولش صافي راه مزيانه. لا صافي مزيان، لا ورجع وعاود راقب وعاود دير. شحال ما زدتي شحال ما الامريكان كيقولوا devil is in the detail. En arabe, est-ce qu'on a une expression du genre? The devil is in le diable
dans les détails.
Non? Bah,
en français, mais en arabe, non.
Ok, bah, c'est ça, il faut absolument s'appliquer et ne jamais arrêter mi-chemin et Dir Niya. Et j'espère que ce livre va plaire et va toucher les gens. Et c'est ça, on vous remercie d'être venus. Si vous avez des questions, bien sûr, on va faire des dédicaces aussi, bien sûr, sur les livres en arabe et en français. On a aussi des catalogues de l'espace Marvel. Vous êtes les bienvenus à nous poser toutes les questions. Ou là, si vous voulez des signatures sur les livres comme dédicaces, avec grand plaisir.
On va passer à la session de dédicaces et je vous remercie tous pour être présents ici. C'était vraiment une rencontre très très plaisante. Et je passe le micro à Madame Amina.
Oui. Alors, remercier justement Amine pour cette collaboration magnifique. Merci beaucoup. Remercier les personnages, les dessinateurs Marvel qui sont là. Remercier le Sofitel de nous recevoir, le Book Club d'organiser ces rencontres en marge du Salon du Livre. Et puis surtout, un très grand bravo à Ayoub qu'on aimerait dupliquer en milliers d'exemplaires au Maroc.
Surtout qu'il a fait l'atelier avec nous, avec son bandage à la main. Donc, on va lui souhaiter un très prompt rétablissement.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Shukran.
Merci à tous. Thank you, guys.
Shukran.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure.